Picture this. In the adrenaline-fueled chaos of Formula One racing, where split-second decisions can make or break a championship, a seemingly innocent act of tampering with a simple piece of tape has landed one of the sport's powerhouse teams in hot water. Red Bull Racing faced a hefty £43,000 fine after a team member was caught attempting to interfere with a visual aid meant for McLaren's driver Lando Norris during the US Grand Prix. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this clever gamesmanship, or a step too far into outright sabotage? Let's dive into the details and unpack what really happened, with some context to make it crystal clear even for newcomers to the sport. The drama unfolded just before the start of the race at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Norris, the promising young talent from McLaren, was positioned in second place on the grid, right behind Red Bull's dominant driver Max Verstappen, who would go on to cruise to victory and keep the pressure mounting on McLaren's title hopes. To help their drivers line up perfectly in such a high-pressure moment, some teams employ a straightforward trick. They stick a vertical piece of duct tape on the pit wall as a reference point. With the cockpit offering notoriously limited visibility, drivers can't always see the grid markings clearly from inside the car. This tape acts as a handy visual cue to ensure they're stopped exactly in the right spot for the start. It's a practical workaround in a sport where precision is everything. And this is the part most people miss. Such aids aren't officially banned by the regulations, but neither is there any rule stopping rival teams from trying to remove them. In fact, this incident highlights the ongoing cat-and-mouse game between teams, where every edge counts. For instance, earlier this season at the Bahrain Grand Prix, Norris himself ended up with a 5-second penalty for pulling his car slightly ahead of his designated grid slot, showing just how unforgiving the stewards are about start-line accuracy. So you can imagine the frustration when Red Bull's attempt to tamper backfired spectacularly. What escalated things was the team members' decision to enter a restricted area known as the gate well, after the formation lap. The warm-up circuit drivers complete before the race begins, had already started. This move violated safety protocols, as the area is cleared for the impending start to prevent any disruptions. Breaching it is deemed an unsafe act, and unsurprisingly, comes with severe consequences. Trackside CCTV captured the whole thing, and the FIA race stewards didn't hesitate to impose the £43,000 fine. In their report, they noted that a Red Bull representative admitted the team member was not aware of the efforts of the marshals to stop him, painting it as an unfortunate oversight rather than deliberate mischief. Red Bull's team principal at the time, Laurent Mekies, had his post-race press conference delayed while he attended the FIA hearing. Afterward, he downplayed the incident as a simple misunderstanding, but whispers in the paddock suggest this wasn't an isolated event. Reports indicate Red Bull had tried similar tactics with McLaren's markers before, prompting the British team to experiment with alternative methods for securing their aids at Austin. It's a reminder of how the rivalries in F1 can sometimes blur the lines between strategic savvy and underhanded gamesmanship. Now for the bit that might stir up some debate. Was Red Bull's action a harmless bit of competitive spirit, aimed at leveling the playing field in a sport where innovation and one-upmanship are celebrated? Or does it cross into unethical territory, potentially endangering safety and undermining the integrity of fair play? Some fans argue that if the rules allow the tape but don't protect it from removal, then it's all part of the game. Much like how teams push boundaries in aerodynamic setups or pit stop timings. Others, however, see it as a clear case of intentional disruption, especially since it involved sneaking into a safety-restricted zone. And let's not forget the bigger picture. In an era where F1 is striving for transparency and safety post-recent controversies, incidents like this raise questions about whether the governing body needs stricter guidelines to curb such antics. What do you think? Is this fine fair? Or should Red Bull have gotten off with a warning? Do you view it as clever tactics or poor sportsmanship? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm curious to hear differing opinions and see if this sparks a lively discussion among the F1 community.